So the stage is set. The scoreboard will tell the story. 30 laps is the distance in this event for the late models here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. They're set to go the distance. Scott Cook on the inside of the front row. This gentleman is not only a good little race car driver, but he is heavily involved in not only his teaching, but he's heavily involved in his coaching work as well.
A high school football coach at Montville High School, along with his brother, Jim. Jim is crew chief, and Scott the driver, and Ben, they made some drastic changes to that car tonight. He's got a good starting position, and he said he is determined to get a podium finish.
Well deserving of it, a hard-working group, a family operation. Outside of him, Jimmy Peterson, the Flamingo Motorsports, number 17. Real story there on that race car. They've had their share of problems getting it dialed in, and Jimmy has told us in the past the car is not as consistent as he'd like it to be. But the driver that sits behind the wheel, Peterson, has been very consistent. He's a multiple champion here at Stafford.
And Ben, those are some of the stories on the track. Let's get some stories on pit road with Andy Crane.
Well, Matt, one of the guys you're going to have to watch starts off in lucky spot number 7. A driver who has made a complete 180-degree turnaround has to be the Extra Mark Convenience Store's car number 01 of Jim Mavlajanis. Comes into tonight's event as the current point leader and should be a factor as we go green.
Jim is always a big factor in the competition here, Andy, and don't count out Tommy Butler. He's been there and done that, and he is hot in this late model class. They come off turn number 4, up through the gears. Picture perfect start, Matt, down to the bottom of turn 1.
And like a football player, Scott Cook trying to get through the hole, and he will succeed taking the early lead.
Keep your eyes on the car running to the outside of the second row. That's Scott Foster. Formerly drove in the SK Modified division. He's working his way to the front and to the outside. Look at that, 4 cars under a blanket as they come off turn 4.
Cook getting a little outside, and that enabled Peterson to get the lead as the 49 of Rezatec in trouble on the grass.
Rezatec's got a long way to go from the back of the pack, but look back to the front of the field. Car number 99 runs tight to the bottom, forcing Peterson to the outside. They come off turn number 4. There are 5 cars in a pack. Like a swarm of bees, they come back to the line.
They could fit inside a hula hoop, Ben, and the man with the most bounce appears to be Scott Cook in a 99. It's almost like steel cage racing as they head down the backstretch.
Scott Foster used to sell programs when he was a youngster at 10 years of age in the grandstand. He's looking to sell himself into a location in CarQuest Victory Lane. Caution comes out of the field.
Ryan Libby stationary in turn 3, bringing out our first caution. Ryan Libby ran very well earlier tonight in qualifying, but his race has hit a dead end 2 laps into our 30-lap feature.
Well, with 2 circuits into the record books, close competition is the story among the top 5 cars in the action here. No question about it. Rick Lanigan with car number 82 also is one of the guys to watch here tonight. He was very, very strong in qualifying, setting now in the 5th spot with the point leader. Extra Mart Convenience Store sponsored race car, and of course, that's Jim Mavlajanis. Don't count out Tommy Butler as we're under yellow. Looks like it's going to be a quick caution, Matt.
And the Ryan Libby car already removed from the track, so it shouldn't be too much longer, and we'll go back to work. Fierce competition at the front of the field as we go to Andy Crane for a report on Joe Rezatec.
Well, Rezatec is down on pit road, and they have pulled the hood off of the 49 car. The crew is looking in, looking maybe a distributor could be the problem. They're checking all the plug wires, making sure everything is tight. It could be a miss. Joe radioing to the crew what he is feeling in the race car, but it looks like something in the power plant, guys, has gone wrong for the TSI Harley-Davidson 49 car.
And although this driver is not in the race tonight, Ben, he does have an impact, and that's the professor, Jay Stewart, because he helped the Cook brothers get that car going tonight in car number 99. So we'll see if Scott Cook can continue to hang up at the front of the field.
You know, interestingly enough, in the sport of auto racing, everybody tries to help each other out, and that's a little different than you find in other sporting events.
Yeah, it's not as cutthroat. At least in the paddock it isn't, but right here on the track, Scott Cook is able to jackknife his way out in front again.
Scott Cook with the advantage to the bottom of turn number 1. Scott Foster is making the move in the outside. The toughest way around is the outside lane, but it looks like they're going to bring them back under yellow. Perhaps someone was just a little bit too rambunctious on the initial restart.
Yeah, we're going to bring it back for a recall. And that was just a dress rehearsal between Scott Cook and Jim Peterson.
So the starter addresses the field, tells him to double back up in the competition. And don't forget, as you look 4 rows back here, the Artioli Chevy Land number 4 car, the car that we often refer to as the Mean Green Machine. For Tommy Butler, Butler has been very consistent and very strong with that race car.
A lot of drivers don't like a green car, and Tommy Butler said a lot of people on his crew tried to talk him out of painting it green, but as Tommy said, he wanted a color that nobody else had, and he said, besides, green means go.
And besides that, green is the color of money, and that's what Tommy's looking for, is the big bucks here tonight.
18 career victories in the late model division. He started his career 28 years ago in 1977.
So they come off turn number 4. They double them up. It's showtime again as they work their way back to the line. Jimmy Peterson, nice run to the outside. Cook guards his spot to the bottom. That's the orange number 99 car. A little bit loose that time, Matt. Here comes Matthews. We've seen Matthews very strong recently. He's now challenging for the 3rd spot. Scott Foster is to the outside. Rick Lanigan is the fastest among the top 5. And there's Mavlajanis with the extra mark car.
But you got to give credit to Peterson and Foster for hanging so tough on that outside groove as Peterson all over the 99 car as they headed to turn 3.
Cook guards that inside lane. Matthews is right there. They bump draft. And there are 5 cars, nope, make that 8 cars that you could put under that blanket.
Boy, the sounds of this race isn't just the roar of the engines. It's the sound of these cars banging each other, especially those guys right there in the top 5.
Rick Lanigan is still the fastest car on the racetrack, 22.867 on the last circuit. That's the black machine, glued to the back bumper of Matthews. They're almost 3 wide as they head down to the bottom of turn 1. They are 3 wide now, Matt.
Lanigan wants to put that speed to use. He gets underneath Matthews, now attacks Scott Foster. The man on the mission right now is Rick Lanigan.
Rick Lanigan, with the skill of a surgeon, makes the dive to the inside, glued to the back bumper of Cook. Mirror full of black. That's the Lanigan machine to the inside of your screen as he works his way to the bottom. Peterson is run to the outside of Cook for the last 4 circuits. They are 3 wide, challenge for the lead.
Daring move by Lanigan. Who will get fried? The 3 cars come together. Contact between Lanigan and Peterson. Butler involved in the 4 car.
Lanigan literally straightened out Peterson. Hard to believe as Peterson only loses 1 spot. And guess who comes in? That mean green number 4 car for Tommy Butler, but Lanigan is now the star of the show.
And it looks like that 29 car waving its own black flag in Chris Matthews, so something amiss on that machine. As another bold move on the bottom, that's Tommy Fern getting underneath Scott Foster.
Ed Ricard is also coming on strong with that neon green numeral number 77.
Look at that, Ben. It looks like he's black flagging himself.
It sure does. And of course, here comes Ricard now, trying to run to the inside, and there is Mike Quintiliano, the white number 13. We haven't talked about him much. He is currently running in the 9th position.
But it's a pretty good bet. He won't be 9th for long. The battle for the lead is there is Ed Ricard in 4th. And that I don't know what that is, Ben, but it's flapping in the breeze for Chris Matthews.
Well, the NASCAR officials say that he has to come in for a quick consultation, remove the article by his crew, and send him back out. And that's a heartbreaking experience for that young driver. But our action now shifts back to the point in this one as car number 25, Woody Pitcat, the pride of Stafford Springs, Connecticut, working his way to contend. Correction, that's the Fern machine. That's the car that Pitcat drove previously with car number 25.
Tommy Fern needed a ride. Woody Pitcat was supposed to be in that car this evening. But right now, Rick Lanigan is the class of the field, and the man trying to chase him, Tommy Butler. So right now at the front of the field, it's a tale of one city, 2 Stafford drivers, Lanigan and Butler, fighting it out for the lead.
Look a little further back and you'll see pretty much the same story with the defending series champion right there as a big factor as well. As Pisacco is now also threading the needle, coming towards the front of this field. Pasacco is a very consistent runner. Doesn't use up the race car a lot. There's 12 of the 30 laps in. Let's give you a rundown. Leader is still Rick Lanigan with car number 82. Tommy Butler currently running in second. Then it's Tom Fern taking over the 25 car, setting back in the third spot. Fourth is Ed Ricard, and fifth is Jim Peterson. Sixth is Pasacco, seventh is Quintiliano, eighth is Foster, ninth is Cook, and then it's Craig Collins to round out the top 10.
Tough night for Jim Mavrogiannis so far, as he is faded back to 12th, our point leader. And the rookie driver, the teenager J.J. Hill, trying to get underneath him. And that would be a big morale booster as Tracy Brulé winds up on the grass on the backstretch.
Brulé gathers it back. No real damage done here, but Rick Lanigan is pulling away from the opposition. 22.653 on his last circuit. When they come to the stripe, halfway in this event is now history. 15 laps complete with 15 to go.
It's hard to believe that Rick Lanigan actually took last season off, because he came back better than ever. And I think one of the reasons he's been so successful, Ben, is really a student of the game. He sits in the stands, watches the lines, and comes up with strategy. He's not only an aggressive driver, he's a pretty intelligent one.
Tommy Fern just pulled off a great move to the bottom of Tom Butler, picked up the spot with ease, and now, as we enter the final half of this event, we can see that Fern is planning his strategy and now starting to reel in and close up the gap. Last circuit by for Fern, a 22.603. How does that stack up to Rick Lanigan? 645. He's moving in.
But Lanigan's put on some great laps on the board since the beginning of the race. Great battle for third and fourth. Butler gets high. It leaves the spot open for eager Ed Ricard, who will take advantage of it.
Butler on the outside. His car is not working as nearly as well as it did in the beginning of this event. The Artioli Chevrolet car drops back a position here, but still running strong at the point is the number 82 for Rick Lanigan. And Lanigan's lead is definitely starting to vanish, Matt.
As Fern doing a good job as Scott Foster is able to barrel his way under Jim Peterson. A look at the top of the lead as Lanigan has some company. Tommy Fern, he has to be pretty hungry, because with all the success Fern has had over the years, 3 Stafford Pro Stock championships, he has not won a race yet this year.
Interestingly enough, on the last circuit, the fastest lap of the event in 19 circuits is Tommy Fern, 22.438. How does that stack up to your leader? His last circuit was a 6.15. Fern is not only moving in, he is the quicker of the two. A battle of 2 black race cars down the back straightaway as Lanigan realized the heat is on, but look at the Fern machine. Matt, it goes in at a ton. Literally, that car is working.
Well, he is caught up to Lanigan. The question is, how is he going to get by him? Tommy Fern, a reputation for being a clean customer. I think his best bet, Ben, is continue to apply pressure on Lanigan, wait for him to drift up, and then make a move coming out of turn 4.
The NARAC number 82 looked so strong at the start. Started 6th, came to the front, picture perfect, but the man that's right there with him, the 25, started back in the 16th spot. That was a car that Woody Pitcat was supposed to drive tonight, but Fern took it over, and he is doing a masterful job.
Trying to get some elbow room underneath Rick Lanigan. Bobby Leone, the lap car, gets out of the way to give plenty of racing room to our co-leaders, Rick Lanigan and Tommy Fern.
There is 8 circuits remaining in this event, and the battle is on at the point. Lanigan's car drifts up just a bit in the center of the turn, not getting the bite off the turn that Tommy Fern is getting. Look at Fern. He can just step on the gas, and that car just sticks, and it goes.
But it can't stick quickly enough to make a run on Lanigan. He gets close, and then Lanigan has some pretty good straightaway power. Here comes Fern again on the bottom. It looks like he's got a little cavity he can try to drill.
Rick Lanigan is trying to guard the inside lane. They bump. Here comes Fern to the bottom, wheel to wheel, side by side, rim riding off turn number 4. Back to the stripe they come. Lanigan isn't about to give up. Fern makes the Timex timely move to the bottom. He'll take the lead, 25 laps.
Yellow comes out with 5 to go. In turn 4.
The 55 machine, the rookie driver for John Warren. The Topper Dodge sponsored race car goes around between turns 3 and 4 with 5 laps remaining in this event. The 82 is shown on the scoreboard as your leader. Tom Fern right there in second. A break for Rick Lanigan.
Yeah, if you want to know why Lanigan is still being scored into the lead in a yellow flag situation, we go back to the last completed lap, and that lap had Lanigan out in front. So he gets a reprieve against Tommy Fern, and with 5 laps to go, this should be a pretty impressive restart.
Down on pit road, Mark Atkinson, the Mystic Pizza car, is down on pit road, along with the number 03 machine for Bobby Leone. Andy Crane is down there where the action is. Andy?
Well, Ben, down here in the 25 pit, so many emotions in the sport of auto racing that as soon as Tommy Fern took the lead, this group was jumping up and down and celebrating. But as soon as that happened, the yellow flag came out, and then they just dropped 2 levels down. But Tommy Fern has a strong race car. Now, I don't know how strong of a race car, because the last time I asked him how strong the race car was, when he was out in the lead, the transmission broke. So they don't even want to talk to me, but they're hopeful that Tommy Fern can make the same pass on Rick Lanigan and end up in CarQuest victory lane.
Let's set the field for you with 5 laps remaining in this late model event. There have been only 3 leaders so far in tonight's presentation. Rick Lanigan, the dominant car at the point. The man that sets in second is Tommy Fern, car number 25. And third, great run for this driver, Ed Ricard, started back in the 8th spot. 4th is Tommy Butler, who started 9th. The Artioli Chevyland, number 4, and rounding out the top 5. The Melco Products machine, car number 13 for Mike Quintiliano. He started in the 11th spot. To round out the top 5, defending series champion Ryan Pasacco, the Eagle Leasing Company, number 3.
The one thing that's impressed me so far about Tommy Fern is that he knows he has the fastest car on the track right now. So instead of making a kind of reckless move to try to get the lead, he has been pretty patient, waiting for his spot to open up. When it did, he took advantage of it. However, the yellow flag came out and kind of messed up his game plan. And right now it's going to be a sense of urgency for Tommy Fern. He isn't going to be able to be as patient as he was earlier in the race.
With only 5 laps remaining, a new factor kind of comes into play here. The tires have had the opportunity to cool down just a bit. Who'll get the bite? Is the outside going to be the advantage tonight, or will it be the inside on a restart this late in the event?
Let's go to pit road and check in with Andy.
Well, guys, I quickly made the mad dash down pit road, and I checked in with the pit crew for Rick Lanigan. I asked them, what do they think, 5-lap shootout? They feel pretty comfortable. They were a little loose off of the corner, but they said now with the yellow flag, it cooled the tires down, and they think they can hold off Tommy Fern.
Well, those tires have to be the only thing that are cool here on a warm night at Stafford. It's all going to come down to a restart, as it usually does, Ben, between Rick Lanigan and Tommy Fern.
It's ready. The stage is set. It's the final 5 to determine what will happen and who will be the winner in tonight's event. Off turn number 4, Lanigan, slight advantage at the line.
Cape Canaveral type start for Lanigan. Contact between himself and Fern. Ed Ricard has become a factor in car number 77.
Ricard makes the challenge to the bottom. Fern drifts back in the outside lane. Here comes Mike Quintiliano. It's not over with yet. A new leader emerges by a bumper off turn number 4. It's Ed Ricard.
Ed Ricard, elbow to elbow with Rick Lanigan. 2 Stafford drivers fighting it out for the lead. Here comes Ricard. He has some power on the bottom groove.
Ricard does the job. He takes over the lead. Mike Quintiliano, a little bit loose, forcing Pasacco to drop back just a bit. Trouble now, right in the front pack of cars. Fern will go around.
Tommy Fern, who came very close to a victory tonight. Those chances go up in smoke on lap number 27.
So the caution comes out again. Car number 77, Ed Ricard, from 8th to take over the lead. A lot of people will be surprised by that great move by Ricard. He's just been getting better and better every night out.
Boy, if he looked in his rearview mirror, it would look like a Stephen King movie. As we saw Quintiliano almost lose it in car number 13. He corrected, but it caused Passaco to be pinched in behind him. Let's check out exactly what happened. Wild racing behind Ed Ricard. It starts with Quintiliano getting out of shape.
He does. They make contact. Fern goes around. Somehow everybody squeaks on by Tommy Fern. You talk about the highs and lows of this business. Just a few moments ago, he was on top of his game. There's Mike Quintiliano, completely sideways. And now he gets on the binders.
Made contact with Tommy Butler in the 4 car.
And apparently, that did not go unnoticed. The NASCAR officials have decided to bring in the number 13 car for a consultation over aggression on the racetrack.
And once again, it's Quintiliano who comes in for to heed the black flag that he has been given. Rick Lanigan is able to hold on to the lead because we go to the last completed green lap. So you talk about the lucky dog in Nextel Cup. Well, the flag situation has worked out well for Lanigan as he bit one bullet when Tommy Fern passed him, and he dodges another one here when Ed Ricard passed him. But Ed will start this race in second place. We go to Andy Crane.
Well, Matt, you just touched upon it. The lucky dog for Rick Lanigan as he dodged the bullet twice now as the consultation going on behind me. I'm in Ed Ricard's pit. They're trying to find out why Ed will start second, but they said they're very confident with the race car. He's going to start on the outside of the front row. They have a very good car. Ed hasn't said a bad word about the race car all night, and their hopes are pretty high that they can go to victory lane for the first time.
Well, they'd be very deserving. They have worked exceptionally hard this season, and every time out, they seem to be getting stronger and more consistent. Look at the man who now moves into the third spot, is car number 3, and that's Ryan Passaco. Now, we often talk about the fact that Passaco never shows his cards early in the game. He shows them right when it counts, when the final bets are placed, and Passaco is right there with his cards close at hand. He could become a big factor here, Matt.
This is like a big poker game, and the big deals are at the end of the game. And right now with 3 laps to go, Ryan Passaco in a position to win on the inside groove. And sometimes with 3 laps left in a race, a driver would rather be on the inside position in third place than on the outside position in second place. We'll see if that holds true for Ed Ricard and Ryan Passaco as we check back in with Andy.
Well, we were going to the Ryan Passaco pit, and I ran into his crew chief halfway down. I asked him, how's the race car? Do they have a shot? And has Ryan been saving anything? They said they over-adjusted the race car. The car's pretty tight, and they're going to be really pleased with a third place. But if you know the 2-time champion, Ryan Passaco, he always has something up his sleeve, and you can't count him out until the final checkered flag falls.
Do you believe that, Ben? Too tight? They'll be satisfied with a third-place finish? Those guys just come to win. The average age, the pit crew of Ryan Passaco, more than 50 years old. So there's plenty of experience, and I think maybe they're doing a little sandbagging.
Could be, and of course they have all the right ingredients to be able to get the job done, and we'll keep our eyes on that situation as it's coming down to the wire. Still under yellow here at the half mile as work still continues, re-preparing the racing surface. A little further back, good run tonight also for the Crenchman team with car number 48 for Craig Collins. Been behind the wheel of that race car only a couple of events, and each and every time out he seems to be getting stronger and more consistent with it. So had some pretty big shoes to fill, Matt, and that's never easy because one driver's setup and the way he likes his race car to run is often different than another driver's setup, and it takes a couple of weeks to get used to it.
Well, Craig Collins has always been considered to be one of the more underrated drivers here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. New ride, but a guy who adapts rather quickly. Yellow stays out. We've talked about Ed Ricard before and how his grandmother used to live across the street from Stafford Motor Speedway, so he was here at the track almost since day one, and no matter how he is, he's always got a big smile on his face. Very pleasant guy, and last year he was the most improved driver in the late model division, and I wonder if it's possible to ever win that Most Improved Driver award 2 years in a row, because I think once again this year, Ed Ricard is one of the most improved drivers in the late model ranks.
Let's go down to Andy Crane, where things are getting heated up on pit road. Andy?
Well, you could definitely say that, Ben. I'm down in the race leader Rick Lanigan's pit area right now. I asked him, do they have a rabbit's foot in the race car? Because now twice he's gotten passed for the lead, and the caution come right back out and get the lead right back again. I asked him what happened on the last restart. They said they were so worried about Tommy Fern, they never expected the 77 of Ed Ricard to make a move, but they know better now that Ed's on the outside. They have to watch for the car on the outside and also for the car on the inside. But they feel strong, so watch for Rick Lanigan in these final few laps.
Don't count out the men in row number 2. They are two of the toughest veterans. More great drivers come out of Stafford Springs, Connecticut that compete here in the late model division than I think any division here at Stafford. So keep your eyes on Pisacco and Butler, because they don't give up. As Matt pointed out just a few moments ago, we're about ready to go back up to green. It's not over with till we cross the stripe on lap number 30.
And the top 4 drivers in the field, Ben, they have one thing in common. They all live in Stafford.
Down to the stripe they come. Ed Ricard, slight advantage. But then Lanigan takes it in deep and tries to guard the inside. Remember, Ricard took the lead with a bold move to the bottom. Will he change his strategy down to turn 3?
Looks like a crossover move by Ed Ricard to try to get to the bottom of the speedway. 3 wide. Here comes Craig Collins in a battle for third.
Craig Collins isn't a sleeper tonight. He's going for it. They were locked together, Matt, as they worked their way to the bottom.
And Tommy Butler finally pulls away to take third. Here is Ricard. One left arrow in his quiver, trying to take the lead away from Lanigan.
And the fans love it. The pride of Stafford. 2 of Stafford's own. Wheel to wheel and side by side. Ricard is in the lead as Foster goes around.
Will the yellow come out with 2 to go? Ricard out in front. Trouble on the front straightaway. Car slide in the dirt.
Mavlajanis, the point leader, is right in the middle of all of that as we go to yellow. 28 laps complete. This has become a real barn burner.
And let's see what lap had been completed. A 3-car fracas consisting of Mavlajanis, Joe Rezatek, and Ryan Libby. And almost car splattered all over the speedway. In between turns 3 and 4, a car stranded there.
Jim Mavlajanis, the point leader's car, severe damage done to the inside of that race car. The car that was involved in an altercation up in 3 and 4 was Scott Foster.
That kind of triggered everything off.
Right. After that, we look to the front straightaway area, and we literally see 4 cars entangled and sliding down through the inside of the racetrack. And right in the middle of all of that was the Extramart-sponsored number 01 for Jim Mavlajanis.
But the important thing in this scenario, Ben, they did complete the lap in which Ed Ricard had taken the lead, so he will be our leader with 2 laps left in our 30-lap feature. And, you know, this was really some impressive driving by Ed Ricard. It looked like he was going to get pinched on the outside and kind of get marooned out there, hung out to dry. He made a change in tactics, went down low, and was just able to muscle his way underneath Rick Lanigan to get the lead.
He sure was, and I think the surprise of tonight's event has to be Ed Ricard with car number 77. You pointed out he doesn't really have the personality like most of the drivers in the pit area. He's just the guy next door. Big smile, friendly, reaches out to say hello to everybody, and says, I just like racing. I grew up in town and was involved in the racing here, in several different ways, but now he wants a piece of victory lane.
Yeah, if you looked at him at the end of a race, you really couldn't tell by his expression if he finished third or if he finished 23rd. The same easygoing personality, but tonight, these are the most aggressive moves we've ever seen Ed Ricard make.
Well, race fans, we've been telling you about Porter and Chester and their giveaway tonight of a couple of tickets to the 15th annual New England Dodge Dealers Modified Madness coming to Stafford on August 12th. And we would like Mike Ardito to report to the Porter and Chester booth. Mike, you have just won a pair of tickets from Porter and Chester for the 15th Annual New England Dodge Dealers Modified Madness to be held here at Stafford Motor Speedway on August 12th. That's Mike Ardito out of Meriden, Connecticut. If you would please return to the Porter and Chester booth, you can pick up your prize. Back to Baden and Matt.
Well, Andy Crane's got more information trackside.
Well, Ben, as you've always said, maybe the best start to be on a restart is in third spot. Don't count out last week featured winner Tommy Butler. They said you never know. There's always something to go down to the final checkered flag. Guys?
Well, get ready. The fans are on the edge of their seats in anticipation in this one. Who will it be as they come off turn number 4? Lights are off on the safety vehicle. The Dodge at the point in this one. Sean Houlihan looks the field over. Matt, it's showtime.
And Ed Ricard looked like he timed it perfectly, but here comes Lanigan. Lanigan will get into the corner first.
Lanigan tries to come back down to the inside. Ricard is there. Ricard has been strong coming off that second turn. Will he be strong enough to win the drag race to turn 3?
Lanigan is right there in his hip pocket. Turn number 4 is where Ricard wants to make a move, and he does to get the lead with 1 to go.
Tommy Butler is right there waiting in the wings. Don't count out Craig Collins. He's a factor, but it's Ricard now in command. Here comes Butler. Lanigan goes to the outside.
Lanigan trying to make it the tough way. Ricard has the leverage. Let's see if he can close the deal. 1 turn away from his first career victory.
Down to the line he comes. It's Ed Ricard, and the fans love it. Win number 1 goes to car number 77. Ed Ricard has done it.
And you know, sometimes when a guy gets his first win, he gets a lead early and close. Ed Ricard, some of the greatest moves we've seen all season long to pull off his first career victory.
An outstanding run for car number 77. Let's go to the unofficial finish for tonight's event as Ed Ricard being congratulated by the defending champion Tom Butler pulls alongside.
The entire town of Stafford, Lanigan is there too. The entire city is there to congratulate eager Ed.
Ed Ricard becomes the mayor of Stafford after taking down his first career late model.
So let's run down our field. It was Ed Ricard, his first career win. Tommy Butler, second. And Rick Lanigan, who led for so long, will settle for a third-place finish.
Great run for Craig Collins to finish in the 4th spot. Ryan Pasacco to round out the top 5 over Mike Mordino.
Good run for Jim Peterson in 7th. Rick Charette rallied to finish 8th. Tommy Fern settles for 9th. And Scott Cook with a 10th place performance.
Back in 11th, it's Mark Lewis, Bill Snow to finish in the 12th spot. John Warren for 13th over Skip Brunig in 14th.
Mike Quintiliano, after the black flag, finishes 15th. Mark Atkinson, 16th. J.J. Hill in 17th. And then Scott Foster Jr., who hit the wall near the end of the race, hangs on for 18th.
Tony LaFaux to finish in 19th. Jim Mavlajanis, the point leader, back in 20th. Tracy Boulay in 21st over Ryan Libby and Donnie Acker.
Then it was Chris Matthews. Remember, he had something hanging from that car. He finishes 24th. 25th, Bobby Leone. And a long night for Joe Rezatek, who finishes 26.
But there's the man of the hour in CarQuest Victory Lane. Andy Crane, we've got a great winner tonight in our late models.
No doubt about it, Ben Dodge, as Ed Ricard still sitting in the race car right now, kind of taking a couple deep breaths, just letting it all soak in before he climbs out here in CarQuest Victory Lane. Ed Ricard, what a way to get your first ever win. You've been here at the Speedway so many times, but here's the first time you are here in CarQuest Victory Lane.
Yeah, this is super. We've been waiting so long for this, and we finally got it.
Take us through that battle, Ed, the last couple laps side by side with the field, running right down to the checkered flag.
It was great. Rick, everybody ran me super tonight, and here we are. Just driving as hard as I could there the last few laps, and away we went.
I can see the emotion starting to build up for you, Ed. What is a win like this like, being here for so long and finally getting the job done?
It's great. I've got so many people to thank, and all the help we've been getting for years and years. They stuck with me. Al from A Budget Repair, WCCC, Duraflex, Golden Diamond Exchange, Body Language. I got to also thank Norm Plantier. He helped us with everything, and this year is dedicated to him, so isn't this race.
Well, you got a happy crew behind you. Go celebrate. Congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Ed Ricard, feature winner, first time ever here at the Stafford Motor Speedway.
Race fans, stop by the Midway this evening to see the Yukon football booth, the Porter and Chester booth, Big Daddy's RC Racing booth, and the Coors Light booth. Sponsor of tonight's Coors SK Modified 100. Tom Butler finished second. He's with Andy Crane in CarQuest Victory Lane. Andy.
Turbo, what a run for you. I'll tell you, you were right in the mix the whole way.
Yeah, it's some of it, or a lot of it was luck tonight, missing some of what was going on out there. Picked the right lane, dashed through, barely touched anything on a couple of those, the guys spinning around. We didn't have a second place car. Get to the end, it's, I guess, I don't know, a little experience, a little know what we're supposed to do with the car. I got a great crew. They make the right moves every time on this car before we come out. We were just a whisker off, but we still had a shot at winning that thing maybe in another lap. I want to congratulate Ed Ricard. He's been fast. He deserves a win. He's been close, and congratulate him and his crew. I'd like to thank Artioli Chevy Land, the guys on the crew. I'm having a lot of fun right now. First last week, second this week. I was really hungry for two, but it's not to be tonight. I'll finish second to Ed tonight and go to Sunday night and see what we got.
Don't forget, guys, Tommy Butler, the defending winner of the ASB 100. That comes up this Sunday.
Stafford Motor Speedway late model contingency partners include CarQuest Auto Parts, Atlantic Coast Trailer Sales, Tech Air of Connecticut, and New England Racing Fuel, Sunoco brand. Rick Lanigan used some of that Sunoco racing fuel. He's with Andy Crane. Andy?
Well, he used a lot of it, and he used a little bit of luck, but a third-place finish. Twice you got the lead back, but just looked like that 77 car just kept coming.
Yeah, Eddie was really good on the bottom. We were starting to get loose about the midway through the race. Early on when Tommy Fern was catching me, that's when the car was starting to go away in the back. And we were lucky to get a few cautions, cool the tires down, and those last few restarts, we had a little bit of grip to hold on. And you restart second, it's tough to stay on the outside here. I mean, you just get up there and you hold on for all it's worth.
Well, it definitely looks like he never took some time off. 2 wins, a third place in contention tonight. You got a big one on Sunday. How about it?
I'm looking forward to Sunday. We usually do pretty good in the long races. The key there is just be patient for the first 3 quarters of the race and turn it up last 25, 30 laps.
Well, Rick Lanigan turned it up tonight, a strong third-place finish.